What's up, beer geeks? I'm Chris Cohen.
I'm Chris Crowe.
And we are advanced Cicerones and beer scholars, and we are doing another classic styles comparison. And today we've got a wee heavy, McEwan's, classic example listed in the BJCP, and Weihenstephan Korbinian, a Doppelbock, one of my actually, both of these are some of my favorite styles. I'm not like a freak for malt, but I go through what I call palate shifts. I don't know. Palate shift used to be a term that people said. I don't know if that's still a term people use. Anyway, it was like, maybe one year I drank a lot of IPAs, and a year later I was like, all right, I'm going to drink malty beers. Anyway, I love these. I love Doppelbocks and wee heavies, nice malty beers.
Call it palate shift, call it just being moody, but
right.
Like sometimes you just revisit these and you forget how freaking good they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't always have to wait in line for hazies.
No.
You can just go to Bev or some crappy store and get where they put these on a warm shelf.
Cool them down, drink them up.
Yep. So we didn't even sip these or sniff them before we just started rolling.
No, trying to keep it organic and just dive in and see what we get.
Yeah. I literally don't even know which is which.
Yeah. Well, you did the test.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a little easier than you anticipate. These are, a kind of amongst a range of like seemingly difficult comparisons because they're very similar in color, very similar in alcohol strength.
Malt focused.
They're malt focused. And so when all of those things are similar, what can we pick out of it?
Right. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I know which is which.
I think so too. And it's like, I think the real key for me, correct me if your angle's different, is that first whiff of Korbinian, the Doppelbock. Mm-hmm. It's so bready. Bready. It is. If you can get used to kind of the signature flavor of Munich malt, German Munich malt, it just has a really dense baked bread character to me.
So it's like, okay, if you're in the U.S., this is the case. I don't know if they have this everywhere, but you go to the grocery store and there's this one section that has like these weird, extremely like dark breads wrapped in tight plastic, like little like rectangular, like cubes. And I don't know that many people that are like fans of these kinds of bread, but I like them. And you cut that, you get those breads and you cut them open and they're just, it's really dark bread.
Yeah.
That's what Korbinian smells like to me.
I agree, 100%. Just super dark bread, and it's
like almost like pumpernickel.
Yeah,
and not with the caraway seeds, but just the pumpernickel bread.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, toasted or griddled, even just like it's such a deep Maillard character,
right?
And just
Maillard is like browning, but not caramelization. Slightly different than caramelization because it's not about sugar; it's about protein.
Well, and that's not that the Maillard levels are different in these beers, but that's a good takeaway between the signature flavor on them.
Right.
Is the darker flavors in the McEwan's to me are a little bit more caramelly impression, a little bit more sugary. Not saying it's a super sweet finishing beer, but it's
a little more brown sugar.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah. It does. There's that thing where you got to separate the impression of sweetness, things that make you think sweet, that you associate with sweetness, and whether the beer is actually sweet. And in this case, I would say the wee heavy maybe does finish slightly sweeter, but it's not a cloying. Neither of these are cloying beers. Yeah. They're balanced. They're balanced.
Exactly. And this is such a fun comparison in that sense because they're obviously not, if you have any familiarity with these styles, particularly hoppy beers, there's not like a ton of fermentation character going on in the McEwan's.
Right.
Sometimes older examples can kind of like be vaguely fruity or whatever, but for what we're drinking in front of us, this is a malt show.
Yeah, big time.
And it's fun to literally be able to drink the difference between, kind of a range of complex sweet impression caramel malts in the wee heavy and kind of like a dark, crusty artisan bread character of German, Munich style dark malts.
Yeah. And they both have that, they both have a little bit of that dark dried fruit character.
Yeah.
Just that you just tend to get in a beer that has this much dark malt. I'm talking like raisin and stuff like that. And both of these have it. I mean, honestly, I think in a blind tasting, this could be a challenging comparison.
Yeah, it really could. And we get to compare them side by side. Hugely valuable exercise.
Yeah.
But if you're taking an exam or having a blind tasting and you're deciding between 2 styles or 4 styles and you don't have the other one to literally drink and compare to, you really have to pick that apart. And so that's what I would be looking for, is the malt character leaning dark, crusty, bready, or is it leaning, caramelly, lightly sweet, sugary?
Right. No, I think that's the headline difference here. I'm surprised at how kind of otherwise similar these are in terms of density of body and kind of the finish being, obviously these lean a little sweet and they're, malty and sweet, but like, they're certainly not cloying. One is not much sweeter than the other. These beers are like oddly similar.
Yeah, very similar, but it's funny because you have super nerds telling you with one whiff of different IPAs they can pick out the hops. Let's do that with malt,
Right.
You should be able to do that with dramatically different malt character, even if they're the same color.
Oh, there's no question. You do this comparison a few times, you're going to get to the point where you can like sniff it and be like, that's boom. Because they're surprisingly similar, because this is maybe the first time I've ever done this, compared these two directly. And I'm really appreciating the similarities, while also, I can say without a doubt, the breadiness versus the caramel, the breadiness of the Doppelbock versus the caramel flavors of the wheat heavy or aromas are pretty much an instant giveaway once you get dialed in.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Well, these are both good ones, and I think we're going to actually maybe just go finish these bottles.
Yeah, we'll take care of these. Don't worry.
Cheers.